誰為愛世人願捨身？這禮物化作活存的心靈，幸福是接受和活出這禮物的真諦，教我學習愛到痛時就如遇見主。人一生最如緊，豔陽縱使多耀眼，如若沒愛，彷彿天空阻隔了光線的障紋。請潔淨我心眼，長留着愛的恩泉，清澈璀璨。
佢係 Austin， 喺屋企排行最細。廣東話有句俗語：拉仔拉心肝。父母特別痛錫佢，唔係因為佢年紀最細，而係因為佢有先天性心臟病。Austin 今年3歲，自懷胎以嚟 ，Austin 嘅父母 Arthur 同埋 Denise 從未有一刻鬆懈過。
With Austin, we found out that he had a congenital heart defect at 3 months of pregnancy. We just couldn't believe it.
佢話呢個 test 睇到個心臟咧係100% 會有問題，但我從來冇諗過要放佢咯。
Denise 本來定落咗 Austin 出生嘅日子，但係 Austin 早咗幾日出世，嗰日正好係2月14號情人節。Austin 嘅右邊心臟先天發育不全，主要靠左邊心臟運作。呢個只得半邊心嘅孩子，反而令佢嘅父母同2位哥哥學會付出更大嘅愛。佢哋一家人喺度睇緊嘅係記錄 Austin 由出生嗰一日，直至佢1歲生日嘅片段。對 Denise 同 Arthur 嚟講，嗰年雖然非常困難，但係亦都充滿恩寵。
I made a video of Austin of his whole first year. We just went through so much, and God carried us through. It was a very overwhelming, very hard year for us, but we put our faith in God, and God carried us through. I wanted Austin to, when he grows up, so that I want him to be able to see everything that he went through, and how much God has had so much mercy on our family, and I wanted Austin to see that when he grows older.
Arthur 同 Denise 一家住喺美國德州達拉斯。Arthur 係一位牙醫，透過工作認識咗 Denise。佢哋喺2005年結婚，育有3名兒子，分別係7歲嘅 Aiden、5歲嘅 Alex 以及3歲嘅 Austin。喺懷有頭2個兒子嘅時候，一切都好順利。點諗到喺懷有 Austin 嘅時候，產前檢查嘅結果令 Arthur 同 Denise 非常之震驚。
醫生就同我太太講話，佢有話可能有單 syndrome 所以佢再做第二 test 咁佢做第二 test 時候先揾到，其實佢冇單 syndrome，但係就先揾到佢有個 heart defect。
With Austin, we found out that he had a congenital heart defect at 3 months of pregnancy. We just couldn't believe it because it only happens, it's very rare for children to be born with a congenital heart defect, but his is even more rare in the heart defects. Pretty much what he has is a hyperplastic right ventricle, and that means that his right side is severely underdeveloped, his right side of his heart. And only the left side is functioning, so he pretty much only has half of a heart.
Austin 嘅心臟缺陷係右心室先天發育不全，呢個係先天性心臟病中較為罕見嘅一種，發生率大概係1/1000。雖然知道肚裡面嘅孩子有嚴重嘅缺陷，將來照顧佢會有好多困難，但係 Arthur 同 Denise 從來冇諗過要放棄佢。
但我從來冇諗過要放棄咯，因為我覺得自己細路仔有病其實有問題，做父母嘅都要照顧佢噶啦，梗係。
Arthur 同 Denise 為 Austin 選擇咗生命， 呢個選擇需要好大勇氣，因為喺佢哋前面嘅路非常難行。Austin 出世嘅時候嘅驚險情況 ，Denise 永遠都唔會忘記。
We just didn't know what to expect when he came out, like during labor. Every time I had a contraction, he couldn't breathe because of his heart. His breathing would stop, and that would just scare us so much. And then when he was finally out, he had to be rushed off to the NICU. I could not hold him. I could only hold him for like 10 seconds, and then they had to take him, and they put him on some medicine to keep him alive until he had his first heart surgery.
Austin 一出世就被送到初生嬰兒深切治療部，令剛剛生產完嘅 Denise 非常痛苦，無時無刻都好掛住 Austin。
At that time, I felt very lonely. Because in the labor unit, it was just me and no baby. You know, you always have a baby. So when the nurse came in, she was just taking care of me, but I didn't want to be taken care of. I wanted to take care of my baby.
喺 Austin 出生後嘅第3日，佢已經要面對第一個手術。一個運作正常嘅心臟，左心負責將帶氧嘅血經由動脈帶到全身。而右心就負責將缺氧嘅血泵到肺部，進行氣體交換，令缺氧血變成帶氧血。咁樣心臟跳動嘅時候，就會確保血液喺體內不斷流動，令每個器官同組織都能夠獲得足夠氧氣供應。由於 Austin 嘅右心發育不全，醫生要喺佢4日大嘅時候喺佢心度插入導管，令多啲血液可以泵到肺部。睇住啱啱出世嘅兒子接受手術，身上插滿喉管，甚至一度要靠機器呼吸，令 Denise 同 Arthur 無比痛心。
When he had his first surgery, it was very difficult to see because he came out on a breathing tube. I mean, like the machine had to breathe for him. And his cries, his voice, you can even recognize his voice because his mouth was so dry from the breathing machine. He was in so much pain. They had to, when they took him off of the pain meds, to kind of slowly take it off of him so he can try to wake up. Oh, I will never forget the look of pain on his face. It's just very heartbreaking for a parent.
完成咗第一個手術之後，Austin 足足要留院3個星期先至能夠返屋企。手術後嘅 Austin 身體非常虛弱，即使係為一啲普通嬰兒輕而易舉嘅事，好似飲奶咁 ，Austin 都要花好多倍嘅努力先能夠做得到。
Babies naturally can suck and drink right away, but like Austin, he did not have enough stamina to even feed, so he had to learn the suck, swallow, breathe, suck, swallow, breathe, and he'd be like suck, swallow, breathe. And after just 2 swallows, he was very, it just took a lot out of him.
到咗 Austin 6個月大，佢又要面對第2次手術。
6個月大嘅時候，因為大個咗，所以就細嘅時候只有細貼，所以大個之後去多啲 oxygen， 所以就放啲個大啲貼上去。第2個 surgery 就放咗個大啲，但係都差唔多同一個位置啦。
The second surgery was a lot more major. Pictures that you see on the slideshow, a lot of times you see that he's just resting and that we're just looking at him, but that's only part of the time. A lot of the times is him crying out in pain a lot. And those are the times that we're busy comforting him or giving him what he needs. He cried a lot, he was in a lot of pain, but they had to kind of hold back on his pain meds so that he could wake up after surgery. And every single time is just so difficult. For his second surgery, it wasn't until a couple weeks later that I was watching him in the hospital room, and he started waking up and started moving around, started kicking. I'm like, oh my gosh, I have my son back!
呢一日 ，Rock 特別喺多倫多嚟探望 Arthur 同 Denise 一家人。Rock 同 Arthur 相識接近20年，睇住佢加入天主教會，談戀愛，繼而建立自己嘅家庭。Rock 同佢已故嘅太太 Helen 以前係達拉斯耶穌聖心堂聖母軍嘅成員。佢哋喺一次家訪中認識咗 Arthur。 同佢相處得非常之投契。Helen 更加鼓勵 Arthur 參加舞蹈班，認識天主教信仰。
Arthur 咧就係我個細嘅太太嘅一個嘅舞蹈班嘅一個學生。好得意咧我同 Arthur 嘅相遇咧同更加熟絡咧，係通過我太太同佢嘅一個舞蹈班嘅交往嘅過程。因為當時太太已經有癌症啦，咁佢唔能夠成日出街，咁所以佢教 Arthur 咧就係通過電話嚟到教，咁樣咧就成個鐘頭。記得 Helen 同我講佢特登成日都問Arthur 嘅問題 ，make sure 咧佢喺電話第二邊咧係真係聽佢講嘢嚇。
Helen 唔單止係 Arthur 嘅舞蹈班導師，更可以話係佢嘅人生導師。佢冇吝嗇佢生命嘅時光，即使已經身患癌症，但係依然樂意花時間同佢講解聖經同天主教信仰知識。佢嘅言行身教本身已經感動咗 Arthur。
我最後決定做咗 Catholic， 都係因為其實 Helen 都好大影響咯。因為嗰陣時 Helen 有 cancer 啦，但係我成日諗，點解佢有 cancer 咧？仲係因為我知道佢可能壽命冇長啦嗰陣時，但係有 cancer， 但係點解佢仲要將花啲時間喺我身上邊啦，同我傾啊，佢都會煮啲特別好嘅湯俾我飲啊，咁其實跟住即係對我好好咯。我覺得其實我覺得 Helen 好似好似另一個媽媽咁，即係俾我感覺到好似主對我哋真係即係對我好特別咯。
當佢到經過半年或者1年嘅時間之後咧，咁Helen 覺得佢係可以領洗啦。咁我哋就喺 Dallas 嘅耶穌聖心堂嗰度咧領洗。咁我就好有幸運地咧係做咗佢嘅代父。
Arthur 本身性格內向，唔容易結識女朋友，天主就好似早已為佢預備。本來就讀電機工程嘅佢，之後轉讀牙醫。機緣巧合之下，嚟自越南裔虔誠天主教家庭嘅 Denise 嚟到佢嘅牙醫診所工作，而啱啱 Arthur 喺認識 Denise 之前嘅冇幾耐，亦都領洗成為天主教徒，咁樣就成就咗一段美好姻緣。
I met Arthur. I came to the office working, and I met him through work, and we were really good friends from the beginning. I really liked him because he was just so down to earth. We were really good friends for a while, and then we started dating. But I had always said that I wouldn't date. He's my first person I've ever dated, and I've always said that I wouldn't ever date anyone who was not Catholic. And I found out after I did it. After I met Arthur, that actually he just became Catholic a year before he met me. So I have always felt that God prepared him for me.
透過 Arthur， Denise 亦都認識咗 Helen。雖然只係同佢認識咗2年到 ，Helen 就因癌症去世，但係 Denise 亦都喺佢身上睇到，只要信賴天主，不斷祈禱，無論要面對嘅困難有幾大，天主必定會扶持。Denise 喺 Helen 嘅追思紀念特刊裏面咁樣寫
：Helen 教咗我乜嘢係信德。當佢發現患上癌症嘅時候，佢充滿信德咁樣接受，相信天主知道乜嘢為佢係最好嘅，而天主必定會賜予佢力量同埋恩寵去面對未來嘅艱難戰役。佢完全順從天主嘅旨意，就算喺極大嘅痛苦之中，佢嘅信德一刻都冇動搖過。
借住 Helen， 天主好似預早為 Arthur 同 Denise 上咗一課，幫助佢哋面對之後嘅挑戰。喺越南人嘅傳統裏面，訂婚係一個好重要嘅階段。喺2004年嘅呢一日， Denise 同 Arthur 嘅家人親友聚集埋一齊，見證佢哋訂婚嘅重要時刻。
We are gathering at our home today in the presence of our parents, relatives, and friends, and especially before the altar of our Almighty God, to witness and to celebrate the engagement commitment of our children, the children of the two families, Lei Gao and Lo.
We would like to respectfully accept your gifts that you have just presented to the family today, and would like now to present our daughter for the engagement ceremony.
喺佢哋嘅訂婚儀式中 ，Denise 嘅爸爸 Matthew 特別為 Denise 同 Arthur 未來嘅婚姻祈禱。
I would like to invite everybody here with me join in our prayer for this newly engaged, in our prayer for them and for us. Dear God, we come before you with gratitude, with thanksgiving from the bottom of our heart. We ask you, God, through the intercession of our Blessed Mother, to continue to watch over them, to protect them and guide them, despite what the society teaches them. Help them to have the enduring love and the willingness to make sacrifice for one another, even at the hardest time in
life.Arthur 同 Denise 自從喺2005年結婚以嚟，生活一直幸福美滿。Austin 嘅兩個哥哥都好健康。Austin 嘅病可以話係測試佢哋婚姻嘅第一個大考驗。
I do think that God used the experience with Austin to test our faith, to test our marriage. I've never experienced anything as difficult as this.I was very sick at heart. It's so heart-wrenching to watch our son go through all of that. And our focus is just only on Austin at that time. And so my husband and I mean, we didn't really pay attention to each other too much. So our focus was only on Austin. And so we did get on each other's nerves easily because we were just really, really upset and really, really stressed out about our son.
每一次 Austin 要做手術，對 Denise 同 Arthur 嚟講都係極為難過嘅經驗。Denise 認為喺第二次手術後，佢哋兩個學識咗借住祈禱尋找力量面對，關係有咗改善。
We realized we were mad at each other or whatever. We picked on each other on the small things only because we were very stressed out about our son, who we love so much. And we reminded ourselves that we love each other so much. God has blessed us with this little son, with 3 precious sons. We need to support each other and not forget about each other, and pray together. And I have prayed for my husband's faith to be stronger throughout all of this too.
我覺得佢哋兩夫婦喺呢個過程啦呢幾年嘅陪伴同埋照顧呢個 baby 嘅過程啦，係增進咗，除咗喺感情上啦，同埋懂得係點樣去照顧屋企雖然佢哋知道佢哋會更加錫呢個 baby， 但點樣做法咧？係真係唔知嘅，咁但係經過幾年之後，無論佢哋有拗撬啦，或者點樣都好啦，完全係因着呢個 baby而真係有個真正嘅感情啦，同埋點樣建立佢哋一個健康嘅一個家庭
對 Arthur 嚟講，佢一直認為凡事只要努力，最終一定會有理想嘅結果。但係 Austin 嘅病令佢嘅睇法徹底改變。
其實教我好多嘢咯，呢個經驗，因為我一世人其實好夠運咯，好多時好多好嘅嘢啦，我自然就得到啊！即係我覺得自己如果自己努力啦，就可以即係乜嘢可以做得到。但係其實我仔出世之後，我覺得其實好多嘢唔係自己控制得到咯。
Austin 令 Arthur 學會咗最重要嘅一課，珍惜眼前人。
頭兩個仔都係咯。因為佢哋好健康嘛，所以我從來都唔會話，即係每一時每一刻都會好珍惜嗰啲時間咯。因為我成日諗住佢哋就大把時間，但係好似Austin， 我覺得每一時每一刻可能真係最後一刻咯。頭嗰兩個仔，佢哋譬如夜晚喊啊，以前細個時候喊啊，有陣時我都好唔高興嘅喎，因為都係成日喊，所以我哋好攰啊咁成。但係咧，Austin 出世之後咧，佢喊啦。去發脾氣性啊！我從來冇嬲佢咯，我從來即係覺得好開心，我可以即係 take care 到佢啊，可以幫到佢啊咁樣。 因為我覺得即係每一時每一刻啦，可能都係我哋即係最後一刻。
Austin 嘅先天性心臟缺陷，其實到咗而家都係仲未有徹底根治嘅辦法。Arthur 同 Denise 都唔知道佢哋能夠同 Austin 相處幾耐。
佢個醫生同我哋講話，佢隨時都會有即係心臟病發嘅，因為有半邊心啦係冇發展過，咁所以咧佢話唔知道嗰啲人會即係壽命幾長，因為好似咁嘅情況啦，因為心臟好弱嘅，所以佢隨時都會有問題咯。
In his daily life, he is fatigued all the time because he doesn't get enough oxygen in his body, and that's just something that he'll always have to deal with. He tries to keep up with his brothers, but one round around the house and he's out of breath. We have to watch him because his lips will get bluish in color, and so we always have to be vigilant about that. His oxygen levels are always very low, and we have to watch out with germs for him. When he gets sick, it's really sick. And Arthur and I, with him, we relax most of the time, but I would say 20% of the time we're always worried. We're always on our tippy toes with him, always. There's not a time that I can really relax.
我唔知道嘅，有陣時你瞓喺覺啊，有陣時你坐喺度啊讀書啊。你就打波啊，成你隨時都會有問題咯，心臟隨時都會即係突然間 fail。
雖然 Austin 有心臟病，但係 Denise、Arthur 同佢兩個哥哥都深信 Austin 係天主賜俾佢哋嘅珍貴禮物，帶俾佢哋好多歡樂，令整個家庭充滿住愛。
佢哋都好錫個細路，好錫個細路咯。有啲細路仔咧，你大嘅細路仔有陣時會即係打啲細嘅細路仔啊 baby 啊咁樣，但係我個仔從來唔會，從來唔會蝦個細路啦。我第二個仔，佢成日講，即係壓力咧，成日講，咁啊佢想做 heart doctor， 想 heart doctor 第時去 fix Austin 嘅 heart 咁講。
Austin, he's changed our life so much. Our hearts are filled with such gratitude for this little one, such gratitude to God for this little one. And my relationship with Jesus Christ has definitely grown stronger.
Austin 喺呢年夏天將會接受第3個手術，手術嘅目的係令缺氧血能夠繞過右心室而直接到達肺部。醫生希望呢個手術完成後能夠改善 Austin 身體唔夠氧氣嘅情況。經過上2次手術，面對呢一次手術 ，Denise 同 Arthur 嘅心情又係點呢？
There at the hospital, I hate being in the hospital. It's just so much anxiety, so much stress. Very heartbreaking to see our son go through so much pain. Tubes everywhere. I mean, his chest is open. He's totally not himself. Very much dread it.
我係好擔心啦，因為做手術之前做手術之後，個醫生都成日同我哋講，佢話有心臟病嘅細路仔啦，隨時都會有問題，唔係話做咗手術之後，佢話即係10年、20年之都唔會有事。佢話唔係，佢話佢隨時都會有問題。有陣時啲細路仔瞓覺，佢就係咁就會死咗啦。即係我哋唔係話日日都淨係擔心佢做咗手術咯，因為就算做完手術之後，個醫生都話唔知佢幾時會有問題咯。佢話因為如果再有問題，就下一次咧就要嗰個 heart transplant， 就呢個唯一方法咯。係做完第3次手術之後，
聖保祿宗徒喺佢嘅書信中話：信德是所希望之事的擔保，是未見之事的確證。雖然 Arthur 同 Denise 未睇到 Austin 嘅病未來會唔會得到根治，但係佢哋都相信，借住恆心祈禱，天主一定會俯聽，一定會看顧佢哋嘅家庭。
希望大家能夠為佢 baby 度祈禱，咁當然包括我在內啦。我覺得祈禱係一個好大嘅力量，令到呢個家庭能夠甚至乎呢個 baby 係感受到我哋照顧佢、關顧佢同埋愛佢。咁佢哋要行呢條路，應該係無論情況係點樣，佢都會好樂意地去接受。
I am afraid of a lot of things, like I'm afraid that we'll lose him, or I'm afraid that he may not live a long life. But those things, those are just, that's human to feel those things. But I have faith that God will take care of it, no matter what it is. No matter what it is, God will take care of it all.
一對青年新婚冇幾耐，竟然發現佢哋嘅婚姻關係並唔穩固。
問題在於呢，就係佢哋彼此之間係唔夠時間認識到對方啊。
咁婚姻之路係咪比想象中難行呢？
唯一係互相支持嘅夫婦呢，先至能夠係行呢條婚姻嘅彎曲嘅路。
條路難唔難行，其實最在乎互相溝通。今個星期嘅愛常傳，洪仁芳修女就會為大家解構婚姻之道。
睇完呢一集愛常傳，歡迎大家打我哋嘅熱線電話嚟分享一下你嘅感受或者故事，同時亦請收聽我哋逢星期六嘅電台節目愛生命。要購買天主教書籍同信仰靈修禮品，請嚟我哋嘅生命恩泉書社參觀選購。我哋下星期同樣時間再見，天主保佑。